All right, guys. Good morning. I'm gonna finish watching this later, but Dave Chappelle's got a new sketch that he put out specifically for the George Floyd movement. I'm about halfway through. I highly recommend you guys go listen to it. Um, I mean, this is the copy this and put it into the chat. This is the Twitter link. Good morning, Freeze Burn. Um, This is the Twitter link. It's on YouTube as well. I highly recommend that you guys go listen to it. So far, it's been, I mean, it's what you'd expect. It's pretty spot on. I haven't finished it, so I can't tell you that across the board that it's the best thing he's ever done, but uh, it's pretty damn good. All right, guys. So what we're looking at is a fantastic Friday after letting air out of the tires. Hopefully, we get some good news today. Hopefully we get something that is helping people adjust to what the market is doing here. Yesterday was pretty rough. It was pretty rough out there for a lot of people. A lot of people got their butts handed to them yesterday. Hopefully that wasn't you. Um, for those that day trade, you're a swing trader. Yesterday gets real scary, right? Because if you're in the wrong position on a day trade or a swing trade like that, things go south real quick. So I know I've seen a couple of traders take different perspectives on how they can give you guys some advice on this. For me, my advice is you have to have a plan. And I know I tell people like it doesn't matter if you're a day trader or a long-term trader, you've got a vision or you got a plan. Just know what you're doing, do your due diligence. I think I'm at that point now as far as maturity goes where I don't think due diligence is enough. I think you do have to have a plan. It's not enough that you know the stock. You have to know what you're going to do with it, and you have to know that pretty clearly. Um, Heard a lot of people that lost a lot yesterday. Portfolios were destroyed yesterday, and this wasn't even that big of a drop, guys. That I mean, we should have been ready for something like this. Like we should have. We yes, the up going up is fantastic. I love it. And like that's great. That's exactly it. Like you had stop losses in place. There were those that didn't. Um, and and we just went through this. And this is how quickly people forget, right? So here's like let's go to the big sheet. Let's go to the big sheet. The market rebounding or not isn't that's kind of my concern is that the people go, well, the market will just rebound today. What if it doesn't? What if it goes further? What if people have weeklies locked in that are just about to be obliterated off the map, right? So what I want to look at here is let's go to 6 months. Okay. So here we are in February, all right? End of February, and this starts to happen, okay? And people are still playing this like everything will be fine. It'll bounce back tomorrow. It'll bounce back. Oh, look, see, I told you guys it's not that bad. It'll bounce back tomorrow. Okay. We forgot about this, about February to March, simply on this rise back up. Because we came back up to this level, people have forgotten this drop. And I think that's super dangerous, guys. Good morning. Um, so one of the things that I'm going to start doing is when I get questions about specific stocks, when I get questions about industries, when I get questions about and RG capacity. Thanks for being here, man, and I appreciate you being the first one to throw this out. But when people ask these questions of, do you think airlines and cruises will go up? The first question that I'm going to have for you is, do you think airlines and cruises will go up and why? I am more than happy to continue to break down all this stuff with you guys. I love doing it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. but I want to hear what you're thinking first because I want to know that you're processing this, that you're putting a plan together, that you already have something going. And then I'm more than happy to pull up airlines and cruises and casinos and COVID pumps and whatever else you want me to take a look at. But I want to know what your thought process is. I want to see that you're putting together due diligence and a plan, and understanding your process is going to help me to offer you insights that will actually be more productive and more valuable for you. So I'm happy to help you guys out. I love helping you guys out in the morning. But this was troubling for me yesterday to watch people take a hit. So all I'm going to ask, guys, is if you shout out, "Hey, can you take a look at this stock today?" Know that the answer is going to be absolutely. What do you like about it? What are your thoughts on it? What do you see? I just want to get your feedback first. So as far as airline and cruises going up, RG capacity, what do you think? Hopefully you're still there. If not, we'll keep going and I'll head into what I usually do. I'm gonna keep trucking then. Okay, so that's okay. I love it. I absolutely love that, RG. I love it. So the thought process that RG's seeing here. Let me switch back here. I'll switch back to the training desktop because I think that that's great insight. Okay, so what RG's identified is after rising 150% over the past 2 weeks, the past 4 days have been a decline. So is there anyone in particular you're watching, RG, or is there something you want me to take a look at? Because I mean, we can do AAL, right? So here's American Airlines over 6 months, and see that had a fantastic rise. Look at that, to the moon, right? Recession aborted. Oh wait, no, we are still in a recession. Um, and the question is, are we burned out yet? Well, I mean, price movement like this isn't enough to tell us, but there's definitely been a so when we look at where it kind of came down to and saw some love, it was around the 16 level. Okay. So let's put in, no, I definitely don't want to buy that. Let's put in these parallels. Let's say from here, oh, to here. This channel here was the first place that showed any kind of resistance on the way down and on the way back up was in this channel here. I think that this channel here, until we actually see people taking airlines and cruise lines again, might be reasonable. Might be very reasonable. Now, let's see if Save. Okay, so let's see if Save does the same thing. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so interesting thing here is that we are seeing something fairly similar. Um, why is it doing that? Come on, give me my tool. No, parallel. Okay. So first place of resistance on the way down was here, right? Um, here, here. So this one, instead of just a two channel, this one actually met resistance in a different place. And it hit that resistance line coming back up. But again, I think that this channel here is where we see this float, this 15 to 20. I think this is where we see this float, but this one actually looks like it has a little bit more strength in this channel as well. So I think there is some opportunity there for sure. Um, as far as cruise lines go, guys, and Musky Pirate, I will get to that question for sure. I will absolutely get to that question. CCL. All right, so here we go. CCL, right? Big drop. This is a resistance line, but there's nothing else to support that. So I think this is just part of the drop here. It looks like it hit 25, came back down, and again, it looks like this 15 to 20 line here. Every time it heads into this section, it either recedes from it or comes back to it. Had a hard time breaking into here, and once it was in here, it's like, okay, well, let's go up. Oh, no, that's not good. Let's come back down. I think this 15 to 20 range for the next little bit is going to be a lot more reasonable than a prediction that it's going to be up in these numbers. Now, with cruise lines and airlines, guys, remember that I said these things coming back up to this 35-40 line would take a year. It would take 12 months. That people were like, look, it's over. It's over. We're here already. It's too quick. It's too quick. And this is what happens when you go too fast, right? Fly into the sun too fast, you're going to get burned and you're going to fall. So my opinion on the cruise lines and airlines hasn't changed. 12 months from now, I think that you would see CCL be around $35, but we're going to have to see bookings come back. Good morning. How's it? I have to learn a little bit more German because good morning is not, it's not going to cut it. But I will learn more German. So that's cruise lines and airlines in my thought. People thought that, oh, we're just going to keep rocketing all the way back to where we were and see a V-shaped recovery on it. I don't think we're going to see a V-shaped recovery on it. People are not traveling. People are not taking cruises. You can see that very clearly. If you go to any cruise line website, the offers that you're seeing on a cruise line website right now are insane. Okay, here we go. Last minute cruises. All right. $86 a night for an all expense paid. That's your booze, that's your internet, that's your room, that's everything. 86 bucks a night. That's Canadian. 86 Canadian, so that's even less, okay? 60% off your second guest. Cruises from $199. Get 5 free offers, free bar, free dining, free excursions, free Wi-Fi, free kids. Normally, guys, this is where they make their money, is these extensions. And they're giving this stuff away. They're begging for you to get there. Even if I wanted to go on this cruise in the Bahamas, which looks really fantastic, I would love to take my beautiful wife in her swimsuit out on this cruise and just have a blast. I would. The problem is we can't even get on a plane and head to Miami. We can't even get here if we wanted to. I couldn't drive into the States and drive down to Miami. There's no way for me to get to this cruise. At this point, this cruise is locked down for Americans because nobody can fly into the damn place, even at $173 per night. This doesn't bode well for the industry. Not at all, man. Thanks for swinging through, RG. I appreciate it, man. I love seeing people from Twitter swing through. So hopefully that helps. And I mean, I wasn't trying to come down at all, but I definitely want to help people fish for themselves, especially right now. I think it's so important right now. All right, let's scope today's markets. Big old border red. There's I don't know that we see a bounce back today, guys. Unless we get some good news. We get news of stimulus checks in some way. We get news of process on a bill. We get news on a COVID vaccine. Something will happen on those, but otherwise, there's no positive sentiment whatsoever here. I know up at the top here, Muskie Pirate. So would yesterday's drop make you leg out of positions or be cautious for the following day? My answer to that one is um, play your plan. Play your plan. Okay. Now this is an unfortunate part about my desktop is my holdings don't actually open first thing in the morning. Um, so I can't show you guys the holdings, but rest assured there's a portfolio here that's full of holdings, and later in the morning I'll be able to show you what it is. But for me, a lot of the things here are on my watch list. So Waiter yesterday actually did quite well. I do have a couple of options positions in Waiter. One of them is a July 250. I'm not going to give you the date of expiry because then you guys can mirror that play. But it is a July 250. I picked it up back when Waiter was a dollar something. So they're doing quite well. I'm going to continue to hold those. But my plans are never to react to a single day because I'm trading 6 to 18 months out. So my question has to be, am I still looking 6 to 18 months out, or am I looking at something else? Um, European market data is all green. Interesting. Now, Koifin has not been super reliable of late, so let me instead open up up 1.9, up 1.7, up 1.7. Okay, so there is some green movement on the SPY first thing this morning. There is. We are up to 306 pre-market. The government saying that Facebook should be tighter on the news, and Zuckerberg's response is perfect. It's if the government wants us to be stricter on this, then the government should make laws to that effect. Do your damn job is essentially what Zuckerberg's saying. You can't put the blame for a lack of control on speech uh, on a social media company. He's saying, do your damn job. You're the government. You make those rules. Make the damn rules. 170 accounts were deleted, including guys, and we discovered this yesterday. Among those that were deleted, no, that's not it. Michael J. Burry. So Michael J. Burry's account is gone. He has left. This is now a parody account. This used to be his main account. It is gone. He is no longer on the platform. He's left. He has opted that this is not a place where he can share his thoughts and insights openly and freely, and has decided that he will take the door, which is really unfortunate. It's a big insight that is gone. So really unfortunate. This may be boring to you guys, but this one here, patient population drug utilization needs. Drug supply. Okay, so this is important, guys. This gentleman here, or this institute here, is the what does this acronym stand for? Oh, here it is. The American Society of Health System Pharmacists. Okay. Um, This gentleman here, Michael, is the senior director of pharmacy practice and quality. Okay. Um, this is an outline that they're offering people to be prepped for what they're currently seeing as an opioid shortage. Uh, I think that this drug supply is getting out of hand. I think, yeah. I, I'm gonna look at these afterwards, these drug calculators, but I think that this is getting out of hand. I think people are starting to get scared. Um, yeah, if markets continue to go down, bear ETFs would go up. My issue with bear ETFs is were there winners yesterday? Were there positive stocks yesterday on the market? Um, and let's go here. So yesterday there were winners on the market. You can't really count Groupon, but there were winners yesterday. There was people that went up yesterday, and if your bear ETF has any of those things that went up on the day in it, I'm not saying that you know Reata Pharmaceuticals would be in there, but hypothetically, if it did, um, your bear ETF wouldn't move the way that you expected it to, and that might confuse your price points. But yes, if the markets do continue to go down, that's true. Um, okay, S&P Nasdaq Dow will still drop or go up right away. What about Zag and Zwa? Let's think further. Okay, um, so this is something that I really want to stick to here, guys. If you have these questions, know that the first thing I'm going to ask you back is why do you think that that's going to happen? Um, I'm more than happy to give a back and forth dialogue, but when you guys have a question like that, try to pair it with, I think that this is going to do this. What are your thoughts? Otherwise, we're just going to do that back and forth of like, do you think they're going to go down or up right away? Well, I want to understand your thought process to help you develop whatever strategy it is that you're trying to develop. I have my own opinions, and I think the S&P, Nasdaq, and Dow are three very different things. Um, Everybody likes to group them together as one entity. I don't think that you can do that. Um, the stocks on the Nasdaq and the NYSE are far different from what's on the Dow, right? Dow is futures, forward looking. The forward looking perspectives could be far different from what's happening here and now today, or vice versa. We There could be a negative looking forward forecast, and then Trump drops news today, or we get COVID news today, and all of a sudden the news for today looks really good, which then affects the Dow. But it, they're related, but they're not. They don't all they don't all go up and down in sync. Which you can see this morning, right? Like, oh, this one's up 2%, this one's up 1.7, this one's up 1.6. These things don't correlate directly. So, he's going to stay up all day. Yikes. So mRNA is one that the government has been pumping pretty hard. When I initially looked at their drug back in February, I was not impressed with what I saw. I didn't think that it would hold up. I didn't think that it would go through. When the first phase one test came through and the results were lackluster, I wasn't surprised, which is where they saw that major drop. But people push forward with them anyway and said, well, it's not them. And if you look at the results, it was actually pretty good if you look at it this way. And for me, that's not good enough. If okay, well, we did a test, but the results they look pretty good if you looked at it in a certain way for a certain group of people. And it's like, well, no, we need a vaccine that applies to everyone. So when we start doing that with medical reports and saying, well, I mean, technically it was good if you take out all the bad. Like, oh, really? No, duh. Like Vietnam was fantastic if you take out all the people that died. If you consider what happened, I mean, just take out everybody that went and fought and died, right? Um, As far as leaders in that space goes, there's 100 different vaccines that are out there being tried. We're going to go through one of them today, which is the one that I actually believe will have the longest running, and I'll tell you why. Um, so I should say I actually have two drugs in my portfolio that are COVID related. Full disclosure on that. Moleculin and Berlacidin. Moleculin actually gave indication. Yeah, no, remdesivir is not something that I would look at. Way too many complications. If you're elderly, if you're overweight, if you have liver problems, if you have GI problems, if you're breastfeeding, if you're on blood thinners, if you are pregnant, if you are, there's another one, high blood pressure, remdesivir can't be used by you. Um, so I mean, yeah, that's most of America. It's not a great option, which is why you heard them stop talking about remdesivir. Um, yeah, I think that's right. Fries with deurbanization for sure. Yeah. As far as Pfizer getting to it, Pfizer was pretty late to the game on the vaccine. I think they have a long way to go. Moleculin was one that showed that they had a test where they had several tests where in vitro and in vivo they had 100% inhibition of it. Their phase two is showing 85% inhibition of it. It looks like a much stronger play, which is why you're seeing articles like this that are projecting that this thing has 320% to the upside. There's huge opportunity for Moleculin's WP1122 to be a leader in this field. So that's one that I continue to watch. The other one here is Innovation Pharmaceuticals. Now, Pharmaceuticals makes a drug called Berlacidin. Of the original, I think it was 12,000 drugs, okay? 12,000 drugs that they looked for on the market that are already out there that people are using, they have some understanding of, and they were trying to apply them to COVID. Of those, they narrowed it down to a group of 12. Okay. That group of 12 drugs was then narrowed down to eight. In that group of eight drugs, we have familiar companies like Sanofi, J&J, Pfizer, AstraZeneca. Um, who are some of the other big ones? Roche, um, mRNA, Gilead. Number eight. Number eight is iPix. Okay. This is a tiny little stock from nowhere. Why is this guy being considered alongside all of these other big beasts? What is it? What is it about this that is still having the government look at it? I'll tell you what it is. So Innovation Pharmaceuticals, a clinical stage biopharmaceutical company. Allergies. Sorry, guys. And researchers at the U.S. RBL. So these are federally funded biocontainment labs. There's only 12 of these in the country. Two of them are currently looking at Berlacidin. The proposed research aims to evaluate Berlacidin as a potential pan-coronavirus therapeutic for treating SARS. So for treating these, including extending the current in vitro testing of Berlacidin to in vivo testing. Longer term objectives include potentially performing additional research to develop Berlacidin as a broad spectrum antiviral with possible application beyond coronavirus. Coronavirus. That word. 5 a.m. I'm warming up. Waskaway wabbit. Coronaviruses, treating other viruses such as encephalitic alphaviruses and filoviruses. So, Berlacidin was originally being looked at as a threefold. It was being looked at as a vaccine, it was being looked at as a treatment, and it was being looked at as an antiviral for post secondary. This thing was a 3-in-1 holy grail for COVID. Now they have stepped back from looking at it as a vaccine, but they are still looking at it as a treatment option and secondary infection eliminator. Now that's not to say that it doesn't have vaccinating properties, but this is a small company and they can't afford to do the testing. Um, yeah, so the antiviral is on the back end. It stops secondary infection. Um, What about Zag and Joie? Will it think further? I mean, what are your thoughts on that market? Because I don't trade in the Zag and Joie. I couldn't offer you actual insight, but I'd love to hear what your insights are as to why those markets would go up or down. Absolutely, I would love to hear why you think that those would go up and down. Um, the ongoing Berlasin and anti-SARS-CoV-2 research being conducted at this labs is separate from the ongoing research being performed at a PHRI. Okay, so there's an RBL studying it, but there's also a public health research institute that's looking at this drug, guys. Novavax is another one that is late to the game. So mRNA, Pfizer, and Vax. Pfizer and NVAX were late to the game. I honestly don't think that they got a shot. mRNA. mRNA is getting a lot of money. It's one of only 8 drugs. This Berlasin drug is one of only 8 guys. What about silver and gold? Will it sink further? So, what are your thoughts, Oluyemi, on silver and gold? What are your thoughts on that? And this is I'm definitely going to give you some insights. I am happy to dive into it with you, but I want to hear what your thought process is. So, what do you think about silver and gold? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Why do you think that they would go up or down? Offer me some insights, and I'll play off of what you've got for sure. Um, so, guys, again, eight, eight, only 8 drugs are being looked at and have been brought to human trial so far. That is crazy. Okay. Yeah. Just because he's in something doesn't mean that that's the play. Um, and I think that cap at the end denotes that you know that. Um, 1 in 8 drugs. 1 in 8. And just in case you guys want to check out what I'm talking about here, iPix, right? Urukai gifting a tier 1 sub. Welcome to the Clan Bee's Knees. I am working on a few more emotes for you guys. I tried to. What I said I was going to do was, as I took big wins from the market, I was going to create emotes for that. MRO was a win for me. It revitalized my options portfolio, so I think MRO is due. Uh, don't mind me, team no sleep, man. Tell me about it. I know that feeling. Um, all right. So let's go through due diligence here, guys. And again, please feel free to shout out stuff. I just need you guys to offer your insights into it. I want to make sure that you guys have your idea. Right. 16 cents is cheap compared to everybody else. The other 7 guys that are up in 30, 40, $60 range, this thing is 16 cents. What happens if they go, you know what? Of these 8 drugs, all 8 have to be used because we just need everybody making these things and all of them have some effect. It doesn't even have to be the winner, it just has to be used, right? For a COVID application. And you're going to see this thing take off. That was my interest in this, okay, guys? Um, okay, so we've got some FDA approvals. Good morning. And that's true too. That's a huge possibility. But in the event that they get acquired, that stock is still going to be worth a decent penny. Even just on news of it being acquired, it would soar. Actually, there's a lot of approval here. Put on some tunes here. Yeah, that's literally FDA is like everybody gets some approval. All right. Um, MFA financial news. All right. Completes acquisition of ANDAs from Intus. These are Indian stocks. Can't trade those. What is MFA? MFA is an REIT. What's up, Techie? MFA is an REIT, guys. It is a holder of residential property. Uh, it works on the loan side of mortgages. So forbearance is an issue for them. However, at the same time, they are agency-backed mortgage securities. They've really leveraged into that. So when Powell says they're going to continue to buy up mortgage-backed securities, that's good news for MFA. And one of the things that we can see here, where did it go? Soma. Okay, so here's the Federal Reserve Bank. You can get Soma's dashboard, Fed dashboard. So if you guys haven't seen this tool before, this is the Fed dashboard. This is everything that the Fed spends money on. What you see here are reverse repos that are in play, repo operations that are in play. And then when you head down here, what you'll see here, this is the system open market account holdings. This tells us, what do you think about the Danielle Booth lady? I don't know who that is. This here is the current holdings of the US Fed. Okay. See this number here? This is 6 trillion. 6 trillion. They've added 16 billion in the last week. Just yesterday, they threw another 47 billion in. So this number is actually higher, or will be higher this week. With the other 47 billion that they've thrown in, we are now officially over the $6 trillion mark. When you look at the holdings, okay, with Treasury notes and bonds, we'd expect that to be relatively high. But the next highest, guys, is agency mortgage-backed securities. This is where MFA lives. There's 1.8 trillion. 1.8 trillion in this thing. They're headed towards $2 trillion in mortgage-backed securities. They are heading towards. This is closing the gap with Treasury notes and bonds fast. Chad is covering up the numbers. There you go. So 1.8 trillion, guys. 3.5, 1.8. Like this thing is catching up to this mortgage-backed securities. This is not commercial. This is mortgage-backed. Okay, it's a big deal. It's a lot of cash. A lot of cash. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Uh, so Viela Bio got an FDA approval and looks to launch product in June or July. So that's going to be good news for them. VIE is the ticker on that. That would be an options play, not an equity play for me. Dice. So over the past 2 months, MFA has been leveraging out of its non-government backed securities and increasing its holdings in government backed securities, which is what has made them so appealing to people. And as this like quiet hush hush thing, they are moving out of their non-government backed and into government backed, which is where we're seeing things start to grow. So in January, MFA would have been a non-government backed. That's no longer true. A large part of their holdings is government backed. Um, 20 trillion in the Fed portfolio. 20 trillion is a lot. 10. I don't think 10, but I think 10 would be reasonable. I think 10 is something that we might see. This is just news that they're going to do a trial. This is a Q4 play. This one doesn't really interest me. It's too high price on either side of that deal. That's just it. If it goes south, the government picks up the bill. And the reason why the Fed is backing those is because it wants money to go into those to keep those afloat so they don't necessarily need to continue in the event that we get a mortgage crash like we did in 2008. It's not the banks that take the hit, it would be the federal government. And the Fed can, well, it'll be the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve can just print money to cover the cost. So instead of the banks taking the hit, it's the Fed taking the hit. And this is incentive for companies like MFA to do exactly what it just did. It got MFA to drop its non-government backed mortgages, which offer a higher interest rate, and they get more profit from it for the safety of having it backed by the FDA or the FDA, the Federal Reserve. That's exactly it, Root. That's exactly it, and that's so important. Okay, so this is big. So this is Viela Bio again, guys. There is no drug on the market to treat this. There's nothing. There's nothing FDA approved. Yeah, yeah. Which was part of MFA's problems. Is a lot of its holdings were in New York City. But what they've done is they've moved into suburb retail properties, which is something that we had expected to happen. They do still have some non-government backed holdings, but they've kept the best of the non-government backed holdings, the ones that are paying their mortgages, the ones that aren't going into forbearance. So I really like this play. Hopefully it doesn't go pre-market, and hopefully people don't read. No, it's already moving. I wonder if there's options on it. No, no options on it. That's too bad. Show a burger ad? Not necessarily free money. There's still risk, but you're investing in hope. Um, yeah. Okay. What else we got going on? We got, and this is my LinkedIn. You guys don't care about this. Happy birthdays, people who viewed my profile. Let's see who viewed my profile. All right, some guys doing some stuff. Cool. Um, so the FDA is being asked how these kits that were unverified got through. FDA has no ability to test kits of this type. And so it relied on people overseas to do it, and that's where it fell through. Like, well, sorry, that's not good enough in my book. A rating of 98 puts MFA Financial near the top of the REIT mortgage industry, according to Investors Observer. MFA Financial's score of 98 means it scores 90 higher than 98% of the stocks in the industry. MFA Financial also received an overall rating of 53, putting it above 53% of all stocks. REIT mortgage is ranked 130 of the 148 industries. Well, we already got that announcement from Powell. What they're looking at right now, as far as leaning into with money, is mortgage-backed securities, which is why I actually bought back into a position in MFA. Um, just going to open up my options portfolio here. I want to see what it is looking like. Two-factor authentication is a must. Come on. Got to have the two-factor authentication. All right. It may take too long, but when it's my options portfolio, I ain't playing around with that. Any of my brokerages are set to two-factor authentication. I'm not just giving anybody access to my trading. Okay. Okay, so Nikola's in talks. They announced their Badger truck, but they don't actually have anywhere to make it. Yeah, so Nikola has recognized that they don't have anywhere to build the damn trucks, and they've got to come to a deal with somebody. Morning, Silver. Right now, there's a fair value price of 450 on SLRX, and it's trading at $1.61. That's a decent upside. It's a decent upside. Decent upside. Okay. Legal action launched. Airlines have initiated legal action against the UK government's quarantine policy. Whole bunch of IPOs here, guys. I don't think SLRX is going to drop, guys. Yeah. What the Badger does is it gives them time to get their diesel trucks going. And they're not diesel trucks, but those Class 8, those big rigs, they can't get them to the market until 2021. So it's DoorDash. So now Grubhub and DoorDash are getting bought out, leaving Waiter free and clear. I think a lot of people are wondering who's going to acquire them. Uber is kind of the last name that's left, and Uber would pair really nicely with Waiter. So you might see a buyout on Waiter come in. Um, oh, look at that. Hertz is going to issue new shares. If this happens, Hertz is done. If this happens, Hertz is done. If they flood more shares into the market, it's up 52% pre-market, guys. Don't Please do not go near this thing to the upside. Don't touch it. Stay far from it. In my opinion. Ugh. I don't go into the stockies game channels. I don't go into it. It just hurts me inside to see the plays that people throw money at. DoorDash is in talks to get bought out, yeah. Company plans to sell hundreds of millions of dollars of equity to T. Rowe Price, Fidelity Investments, and SoftBank Vision Fund. So I guess maybe not bought out, but they've got major private investors taking a look at them. So they're expecting to break even. Waiter broke even last quarter. Waiter was one of the few stocks that was actually up yesterday. Um, this is another portfolio, guys. I want to show you guys this just real quick. I'll give you guys some more details when I eventually get around to finalizing this study. Um, come on. Um, so this is an account that I have been working on. It's a new strategy that I've been working on. Um, this account started on Monday with $100,000 in it. It was a paper account. Um, it's now Friday, so in the first week, I've taken that 100,000 position and made it into 227,000. So a return of over 100% in a week using this new strategy. So once I've got a couple of weeks of backlog history on how this works, I will be taking a deeper look into that, guys. Um, but this is looking like a very strong potential play. But I will keep you guys in the loop on that. There is a history here, shows you all the plays, when I took them, what they were. It's all there. Um, Um, so it's always a couple of different parts. It's actually almost exactly what I showed you guys yesterday, right? Hypothesis is these things are about to happen. What's the likelihood of them happening? Okay, great. If that happens, what are the products that need to happen? And then what's the play? With this one, it's a little bit different. It's still true. The hypothesis is okay. Um, the hypothesis is every day Robinhood is going to funnel in. Kimmy, nice beaver. Yeah. I love seeing that maple leaf. I really do. Um, so, yeah, the hypothesis on this strategy is Robinhood is going to mob into something every day. Usually a couple stocks, one or two or three stocks. They mob it. That causes the price to artificially increase. So yesterday, Wafu was one of them. Okay, so you see Wafu here going way up, right? 1 to 750, right? So the hypothesis is every day Robinhood is going to artificially inflate a stock that shouldn't be artificially inflated. And so what I do is I'm trying to gauge the proper timing on this so that I can say, okay, it goes all the way up, short sell near the top. And if you continue to do that, if you are you actually able to consistently produce returns simply by showing up at a certain time of day, analyzing where the major increases are, the ridiculous ones, the ones that are 700, 800%, 600%, analyzing those and simply taking a short against it. Is it? It's a very simple strategy. Is it possible? Can you do it? Any ideas how to play a PND? A PND? What do you mean a PND? This is it. Yeah, this is how you play the pump and dump. For me, this is what this account is. It was to create a pump and dump strategy, and the idea is, and too many people I think are trying to chase the pump and dump. They want in on the upside. And I think the stronger play is to time the down, to time the out. Ooh, so now he's got a quarterback. Love it. Yeah, it's a Hail Mary play. It is. It is a Hail Mary play. This has inherent risk to it, guys. It is a day play, which is really counter to a lot of my strategies. My strategies typically are 6 to 18 months out. So it's a day play. It's a short sell play. Typically, I'm a long equity. This is the opposite of everything that I am. I am a long equity bio, do your due diligence, dig hard, dig deep kind of guy, okay? And I think I always will be that guy. But I definitely recognize that I need to have an answer for Robinhood. I need to have an answer for the insanity that is Robinhood. Um, and I don't, with long equity, I don't have that. So what I need to do is start to get a handle on. And I think this is a potential strategy. Now, I'm not saying, guys, I'm not going to give you the timing. I'm not going to give you how I identify those plays until I see that the strategy has merit. I would never want to give people insight into a strategy until I have some confidence that it can produce results. However, to date, we're on day 4, and this is up 127% in 4 days. Well, that's just it. They are a factor. They're not going away. They will continue to be there. So that's just it. Yesterday, guys, my options portfolio was up 56%. My equity was down 7. This account here, yesterday, made, yeah, I bought instead of sold on this one. So I lost 2 grand there. 320, 930, 1,000, 48,000, 10,000. So let's take the 2,000 off with these guys here. This made $58,000 yesterday on yesterday's market. No, this is paper. This is a paper strategy. I would not try a short strategy with cash first. That can go against you real quick. This is a paper strategy. But this was a $50,000 gain yesterday. Now, the nice thing with TradingView is does still place all the same rules. So if the stocks are upticked and you're not able to take a short, it will not allow you to take a short. It won't let you take more capital than you have in the account. So you need to have the equity available in order to take the short. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. This is everything I am not. However, I feel like by adding this to my arsenal, I become a better balanced trader, which makes it more appealing down the road. If I want to create a private investors club, where it's just myself and 5 or 6 people that want to be a part of the club, um, it's important for me to have a diversity of strategies to offer. I need something for the short sell side. I recognize that. So while I have a great long equity strategy that works fairly well, so Huntress, the price estimate on SLRX, the fair value on it is 470. 470 fair value. It's at $1.60. So I'm giving you what we just read today, and I'll let you make your own conclusion on it. But let me ask you, if I told you I'm gonna sell you a $5 bill for $1.50, would you buy it? I guess is the question. You know what I mean? Nothing really. There's a little bit of oil news here, but yeah. And this is one of the things that I have with post-secondary education, guys. If you're going to be a surgeon, you're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be. I'm trying to think of another profession where it would actually be required. I think surgeon and lawyer are the only, like anybody in the medical field or a lawyer, you need to go to university. But for economics, for business, for arts, for philosophy, for languages, I don't know that any of those need to go into post secondary anymore. The education's freely and readily available, and for the most part, if you go take, let's say you take, and this is where I always laugh. Let's say you go take a digital communications 4 year, okay? So, um, let's say you get that everything that you learned year one, two, and three, by the time you get out into the real world after year four, will be obsolete. It'll be a waste of your time. And at a price of about 20 grand US a year, that's $60,000 that you wasted learning things that will never be used again. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, engineers. If you're going to be an engineer, you want to be an engineer. You want to be a physicist. You want to be a scientist. You want to be you want to be a lawyer. You want to be a doctor. Those. If you're going to build spaceships, please go to university. I'm not saying don't go to university for that. However, if you're in the financial or the business side of things, the marketing side of things, the communication side of things, I just don't see it. I don't see it. Right. And I would agree that used to be the biggest upside to your post secondary education with the network it introduced you to. But I'm going to show you guys this cool tool. It's called LinkedIn. You can connect to anybody in the world, absolutely anybody. So here's Damon John. You guys know him. Um, Send him an invitation this week. It's pending. I don't know if he'll actually do it, but he's a second connection. I can reach pretty much anybody in the world if they're on this thing. Is Bill Gates on here? He is. He's a third party connection. Oh, no. Bill's got it, so you got to have his email. I do. I do. You may just need to follow. But this is often what I do, guys, when I see people in articles. So here's an example. When Michael Burry's thing disappeared yesterday, I found the last guy to write an article on him and send him an invitation. I was able to do that. He's in my network. Pretty much everybody is in my network at this point. So when I get interested in something and I want to talk to somebody who has some authority in the industry, I just reach out through this. In the grand scheme of things, if I have to choose between 4 years of 20 grand at a U.S. university, 80 grand US, or LinkedIn, I pick LinkedIn. It's free. Use it, right? Um, even so you consider financial programs in a university, right? And in the university setting, teacher sits in the front, tells you what's what. You sit in the back and nod your head and say, okay, I better learn that because he's going to ask me it again. And you just kind of regurgitate back what he's giving you. There's no analysis. There's no process. There's no you figuring it out for yourself. And there's definitely no hive mind. There's no, okay, well, understanding how other people think is a part of that as well. That's kind of why I love, if you study for free or a very small price, fantastic. Fantastic. That's something completely different. If you audit courses in a university, I think that's a great way to go. Most universities in North America will allow you to do that, right? They will make you, or they allow you to go to a university and say, I don't really want the credit. I don't want this I don't want a diploma. I just want to sit on the class and learn what's being taught. They'll let you do that for free. I think that's fantastic. Absolutely. Absolutely fantastic. Um, Boris, what happened with Groupon yesterday was they did a reverse split. That's why they went up. So you see how it shot up to 2058 and yet it was down 25%? That's why. Yeah, they might be a little bit picky about post bachelor studies. If you if you walk into a, oh my goodness, Root. If you walk into a if you walk into a PhD program, they might ask you to leave. I don't know that you get to audit that. Free is fine. If you're there for free, great. Great. Soak it up. But again, guys, the knowledge is only a portion of it, right? At the end of the day, nobody really cares when you get into the real world whether you got an A plus or an A or a B. As long as you got the letters after your name, great. Great. Again, with the caveat of you being a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon or an engineer building the bridges, yeah. Okay. But for the most part, if you're doing finances or economics or marketing, nobody cares if you got an A or a D. Nobody cares. McKinsey cares. I don't care about McKinsey. How about that? No, but nobody cares. What they're going to care about is what you can actually use that knowledge to create in the real world. So, to give you guys some perspective, I've never taken an economics class. I've never taken a business class. I am a high school dropout. But you guys can see me sitting down with Martini every day, who's a very, very well educated lady, extremely smart lady, went through the education system. But the two of us are able. No, so no, Goldman Sachs does not care. And here's what I'm going to lay down for you. Okay, let's say you and I both go to Goldman Sachs. Okay, you present them with a Chicago Booth School of Business, straight A, valedictorian, magna cum laude. Here's my diploma. I present them a 5-year trading history portfolio that has produced nearly 10,000% gains. Which one do they take? They're going to hire you or they're going to hire me? What do you think? Maybe both? Maybe they hire both? But you're going to be on training wheels because you haven't actually traded the market and produced results. You get what I mean? Like, even Goldman Sachs, even these big hedge funds, they're opening up. Exactly. Exactly, Root. And I think that is where a lot of these hedge funds are starting to open up, is they realize that formal education isn't the be all end all. There are people out there making money hand over fist, and they're missing out on those opportunities because they've become so narrow minded on, oh, you got to have the education, you got to have the proper education. I think they're more inclined to hire the guy that doesn't have the formal education because he's already making money. Now they may hire this guy as well with the education so that he can learn from these people that are already in the market, and then this guy actually becomes a lethal commodity because he's got a great education, backing, practical application. But at no point do I think that this guy is going to be the more heavily weighted in this. At most, his education brings him to parity, but this guy's already ahead of the game because he's been earning in the market, and this guy's been paying a financial institution. I get asked the question a lot, a lot. Where did you learn to do this? And my answer is, I learn pretty much all day. From the start of the day till the end of the day, 4:30 a.m. until I close down around 5:30, I am learning. I don't learn from well, I do learn from Wall Street bets. I shouldn't say that. So if you watch somebody driving down the street, okay, you got a bunch of cars and they're driving down the street, and all of a sudden one car comes swerving through cars going 120 in a school zone that's marked 30, right? And you see that guy smoke a lamp hole and die. Do you learn from that guy? Absolutely. You absolutely learn from that guy. You learn that it's a really stupid idea to swerve in and out of traffic going 120 in a place that's marked with a speed zone that's 30 or 40. You learn from the car crashes. Um, exactly. That's it, Snooey. That's exactly it. You learn from the car crashes. You learn from the car crashes. So, Rook, I'll show you a tool that I use that does something very similar for me already. Unfortunately, guys, you won't be able to get access to this tool. It's a fairly costly tool. Um, so let's say Groupon because of what they did yesterday. Okay, we want to see if there's actual positive sentiment behind Groupon. Okay, so what I do is I throw this in here and I'll leave it over 13 months. What this is doing is it's scanning the entire internet for me, and everything from blogs to social feeds to forums to threads to you name it. Okay, it's all in there. It's checking to see, okay, how many mentions are there over this 13-month period? Okay, there's 593,000 mentions. Trends doesn't come close to this, and I'll show you why. It then attaches sentiment. The advantage to this tool here, guys, is most crawlers out there can scan copy. Okay, so they can scan text, they can scan images, but they can't scan video. This tool can actually scan video in real time and analyze for brands, items, whatever. So Groupon, it's actually scanning YouTube videos to see any YouTube video where people say the word Groupon instead of it showing up. If Groupon shows up in a banner, it will identify that in video, and most of those can't do that. It then attaches sentiment to you to let you know what's going on. Now, over the last 7 days is when we got the split, right? So let's see how this changes from 23 to 15, 22 to 13. Okay. So what we've got here is you can see that there's a negative spike on the 12th of June, and then this morning it had a positive spike. Yesterday it was leaning to the negative side. It was positive first thing in the morning, and then people realized what had happened, and it leaned to the negative, right? Mentions are down, engagement is down. The other thing that you can do with this is take a look at top themes. So word cloud, this is pretty common. You can break down your key influencers. It can also give you demographics as to who's looking at this, talking about it, right? Ooh, internship. What internship? Oh, Goldman Sachs. Yeah. I mean, to each their own. Um, so this is a breakdown of Groupon, guys, over the last 7 days by gender, age, languages spoken, interests, top occupations. Okay, guys? So this is important. So the way that I use this tool is if I want to gauge sentiment around news, I will put in something. So let's say, for example, I want to gauge the current sentiment. Oh, wait, hold on. Even better. Let's do Biden and Trump. Okay. So people talk about polls. I don't need the polls. I come here. Okay. And what I look at is where are these things weighted? So this is the entire internet. Okay. And what this does is it breaks down for me what people are talking about. Now, with Trump, what's interesting is look where Biden is weighted. More on the male side, right? You would almost assume that Trump would be more heavily weighted to the male side. And he is, he still is. But look at this. Notice something? Trump actually has a larger female demographic discussing him at the very least. Now, sentiment is another thing, and we can gauge sentiment after. We can go back to the sentiment analysis. But this lets me know that there's more women actively discussing what Trump is up to. And that can be vital when it comes to an election. If I'm a campaign manager, I want to know that. As far as ages go, they're pretty much in line, right? So this tells us that it's apples to apples as far as ages go, and this is counter culture to what the CNN polls would tell you is that the young people are only talking about Biden. They're not talking about Trump. It's not true. It's not true. This is not subjective. This is not a small sample of 1,000 people. This is the internet. This is the internet over the last 7 days, and there's not one demographic where Biden or Trump is stronger than the other. Everybody is about equal in there. Here, a 3% difference in the female component is a big difference. That's a huge difference. Top languages. What you'll see here, Biden, predominantly English. 3% less for Trump, which means that his Hispanic speakers are more, right? So that's another big deal. What we're seeing is there are speakers of other languages that are actually discussing Trump. That's something worth noting. Okay, Hispanic populations, populations that are immigrant, Portuguese, German, There are other languages listed here where there are people talking about it. Top interest. So this is important as far as, okay, well, what are people considering with the upcoming elections? What are hot topics? Family and parenting seems to be a big one. Animals, for some reason, is a big one. Uh, Literature and books is a big one. This gives you an understanding of what some of the strengths are. Here's one where we're seeing a big music and audio. There's a big gap here. This is their interest. This is to get to know who your people are, right? Go figure. The people in Trump's camp are less interested in government, whereas Biden's are more interested in government. Top occupations. This is interesting. So this is a large gap, 3.5%, right? 3.5% gap between Biden and Trump when it comes to an executive position. So people claim that Trump is just one of those business hungry mongers. Oh yeah, because the people talking about Trump don't hold that executive manager position nearly as much as the people that are backing Biden. What about authors and writers? Okay, well this is journalism. This makes sense that more journalists are talking about Trump than Biden because Biden's giving them no news. So that's important to see as well, right? Any other sizable gaps that we see here? I mean, there's a single percentage difference on this. So artists, celebrities. So this tells you what people are talking about, and that's interesting, but you always want to pair that with the sentiment, right? So first of all, you see this big mountain and valley deal going on here over the last 7 days? This big beast here, this is Trump. This is Biden. So what does this tell you? Who's currently getting the mic? Who's currently getting the press? Who's currently getting the attention? Is it Biden at all? No. Engagement. So yeah, people are talking about Trump, but nobody else is really listening. It's just a bunch of his followers that are idiots and having conversations, and nobody's really. Oh yeah, level of engagement on Trump stuff is huge, but it is a fair comparison. So, and that's what I hear often is it's not a fair comparison. It is a fair comparison because it's reality. The reality is this is what you're going into the election with. There are no primaries. We're not seeing debates. We're not seeing large gatherings. What we're seeing is, and this is almost unprecedented, what we're seeing is a US election where typically right now we would have had multiple debates. Trump and Biden would be going at each other. The press would be all over it. Biden is getting crickets. The election is less than 6 months away. Less than 6 months away. And Biden is seeing a fifth of the numbers. Now, the polls from CNN are small sample groups. It's an outdated polling system because it's small sample groups of 1,000 to 1,500 people where they curate who those people are. This is the internet. This is everybody on the internet, okay? So, the other thing to note, it may be, and that's what we have to consider, Kimmy, for sure, right? Is, okay, so Trump is getting talked about more. Trump is getting a higher level of engagement. Now, let's get to sentiment. Is it because Trump is more notorious? Well, let's see. Sentiment for Biden, 16.5 to 13.7. People are a little bit more positive than Trump, okay? But this is not crippling. 3%? If you were to believe the headlines that you saw out there, you would expect this number to be completely out of whack with this. And not necessarily that Trump's negative would be higher, but that Biden's positive would be higher. And it's not. People hate Biden as much as they hate Trump, which doesn't bode well for Biden going into the election, seeing as people talk about him less, they engage with him less, and they hate him just as much as Trump. See how this is more important than a biased poll from a mainstream medium source that is taking, I don't know, 5,000 people at most at a random sample. The internet is negative, but at the same time, guys, so if you want to see Is the internet negative about everything? Let's see. Right. What I'm getting at, Root, is that this is indicative of the actual uh, macro culture view of both politicians. So, Black Lives Matter. Okay, largely negative. PS5. Look at the announcement yesterday. Right? People are negative, are negative, are negative because it got delayed. Bam. People likey. What's her name? Kaylee. Oh yeah, I'll find her name. Press secretary. Top of the morning, Jericho. No, people know likey. Or the last 6 months. Mm. Compared to Biden. Yeah, we did Trump. We just did Trump Biden. Ooh, ooh, that is no that's notable. Look at that. That's a big deal. So Trump, instead of talking to the press, has sent the press secretary out a lot lately. And look, that's a big deal. That's an 8% difference in sentiment. Now Biden is crushing her for reach, but that's insignificant. What you're looking at is he's losing big to Trump as far as what's being talked about, but people like her better and she's the one dropping the news. That's fine. People can make all the memes she wants. That lady's getting highly paid to do her job. Um, yeah, I mean that's impressive. That's a big gap. That's a big gap. All right, so the last one that I want to take a look at here is let's make this into Democrat, Republican. Ooh. Tight, 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 tight. So this is Republicans. This is Democrats. Look. Tight, 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 tight. Does this tool subtract Russian bots? What this tool does is scans the entire web. It crawls everything. Crawls absolutely everything. Um, so look how close they are as far as mentions, right? Neck to neck. Neck and neck. Engagement, though. Uh oh. There's a bit of a disparity here. bit of a disparity. Even further, look at the positive to negative. People are not happy with the Democrats right now. Negative. That's a 4% gap. Now watch. So this is, we've got Republican here. Let's look up U.S. election poll. Latest polls. YouGov. Okay. So here it is. Here's a breakdown of a recent poll from Yahoo News. Okay. What I want to get to is the stuff at the very end saying, oh, it doesn't even disclose that. Doesn't disclose the sample size, nothing. Oh, 1,500 adults. So of 1,500 people, okay, what this one comes up with is Biden wins by 9. Biden's up nine poll points, okay? Now, Democrat, Republican. I'm not seeing that. Now, one of the things that you have to consider with the US election, guys, is the silent majority. And I know people thought that was a huge meme when he said it, but it's a reality. People were baffled how he won the last election because nobody out loud said, I'm voting for Trump, right? Even if you voted for Trump, you weren't out there campaigning and publicly saying, I'm voting for Trump, unless you were one of those. And that's just it. A lot of people that are going to vote for Trump are not being outspoken about this stuff. They're not telling people about this stuff. They're not being the vocal supporter. They know that their voice matters at the pulpit. So they let things like Twitterati's rage against them. And they don't care. Because at the end of the day, guys, what's going to happen is they're going to show up at the poll and they're going to vote. Anyway, that's my spiel. That's a cool tool. That's what I use to judge sentiment analysis around something. So if something happens where a COVID announcement happens where somebody says a vaccine, I will go check the sentiment. If somebody says that I do not have a Discord, no. You guys will find me in Stock Guy's Discord in the mornings for the calls. Every single morning I am there to do those calls, to give some analysis and breakdown to help people get started with their day. Similar to what I do here, not the same amount of detail. And then I usually hang out in Martini Rita's Discord most of the day as well. It would be, Root. Yeah, it would be. Absolutely, it would be. And the reason why, so if it was a small sample group of 1,500 people, Root, I wouldn't use that tool at all. Because you can easily gain those minor metrics of, okay, well, did one person do this up or down how many times, right? That's easily manipulated. When you're talking about the internet as a whole, and we're talking about numbers in the trillions, is it still possible to manipulate that? Absolutely, but at great effort. And to keep the numbers as tight as they were in many cases, that's extremely difficult to do. And I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying, irregardless, you have to be aware of that. So for me, I'm not saying with 100% certainty based off of that data that Trump is winning the next election. But what I am saying is Biden seems to be, when he gets that moniker from Trump of Sleepy Joe Biden, I'm going to have to agree with him because Biden, he's just, even if Biden, let's say Trump is plugging all of his numbers and that's how he's getting so much more reach and so much growth and so much whatever. What's up, Levi? Biden has the same opportunity to contact somebody to plug the internet with him. And he's not, which is his failing as a strategy, which leaves him quiet heading into an election. Hey, Ma, look, it's me. I'm on TV. Good, it's public. Just want to make sure it was public. People could find it. Clear some emails while I'm in here. All right, so let's head over here, see what the markets are doing. It was a reaction to the Fed saying that we're in for a rough run. Dow's up 2.4 pre-market, S&P's up 2, Nasdaq's up 1.9. I am gonna go grab some more water, guys. I will be back in 60 seconds, and we will stop. We will start diving into actual stocks and looking at some charts. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, what are we talking about? S&E. No, yeah, I didn't grab S&E. For me, it could have gone either way for me. My concern was that they were going to drop a price point that was unreasonable. People weren't going to like it, and it could have a negative outlook for the stock. So I didn't really, I didn't want to go into it. All right, let's head over to where's my OBS here? All right, what are we looking at? SLRX pre-market. It's kind of both sides are fighting over where it's going to go. BMY still looking like it's making good ground towards that 60 mark that I set for it. Um, Merck took a little bit of a hit yesterday. So guys, I've gotten over SPG before. SPG is about shopping malls. I think shopping malls are a dangerous play. I personally don't like shopping malls. Um, I think they're a dying industry. The new titles looked fantastic. They really did. Um, Interesting. iPix is up. Uh, Sony's up a little bit off of yesterday, but not a ton. Pfizer's up. AstraZeneca's up. So it looks like COVID stocks are doing well today. Groupon is actually up pre-market, which is kind of surprising. Nikola is up. Chesapeake is up. Yikes. GNPX is up. MFA is way up. MFA is up to 264 pre-market. MFA is looking pretty good. Guys, this might be a green day after all. We're seeing, SPY's 307. Most of the stocks that I'm looking at here are Tesla's up a little bit. GameStop's up. Yeah, who knows? Holding how I started a digital agency. So you know that same thing that I told you in regards to post secondary education. That's the same way I got my digital agency started. I was a business systems analyst. So basically, I would go into bankrupt businesses or businesses that looked like they were going bankrupt. I would evaluate the systems and say, here's what's broken, here's what you need to fix in order to get to a place where you're going to be profitable. And I did that in restaurants, I did that in movie theaters. But eventually, what that leads to is you just firing people over and over and over again, and then moving to a new place and firing people. And it gets kind of tiresome when you're in your early 20s to constantly be firing people. So, took a year off, did some missionary work with my wife and my family. While we were on the West Coast, I met a guy who worked in Hollywood. At that time, people were trying to figure out how to use social media effectively to grow their business online. I applied the same things that I knew about business systems to social media and just started telling people, oh, yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, it works like this. And it worked. And so from that point on, there were a bunch of steps throughout that, but it was building relationships, growing and getting referrals and growing and getting referrals and growing. And eventually, after a decade, you've got a digital agency, and I work as people refer themselves to me. So I can do pretty much anything with a business from the ground up, from your HR to your finances to your spending, your marketing, your sales team, your executive team, your directors, anything. I can pretty much plug into those and say, here are my insights on what you could do to improve the situation. Or if you're in fire sale mode of like everything's burning to the ground, I can help the bleeding stop and get you headed in a healthy direction. Um, with marketing and digital marketing specifically, that's where a lot of my strength comes from. I am an international expert in that. I do travel the world speaking at conferences and events. I do help teams internationally analyze their digital marketing campaigns and really help people understand that social media isn't just a place where you spew. It's actually a place with real people having real conversations. And if, as a brand, you have the ability to engage people in real conversation and build a community vis-a-vis Nike or Apple, you have a greater chance of success than those who just spend ad dollars. So that's kind of what I do. I do a lot of public speaking. I will be speaking. The next big conference I'll be speaking at is the South Africa Innovation Summit. I will be doing it remotely, but I will be one of the few keynotes that they have at that event. I do like traveling. I do, yeah. I will also be at Social Media Week Lima, so in Ohio, in September. And I'm hopefully going to be in Boston for Inbound. Hopefully. Um, I was on a secondary list for them. I would love to be able to make that. I haven't heard back since. I don't know if they're going to keep doing it. Um, COVID's not a big concern for me. It just isn't. It's just not a big concern. Um, all right. So what do we want to look at here, guys? Go to the big sheet. What do we want to look at? What are we watching this morning? Not seeing any insane movers yet. Nicola. HOV. Not at all. All right. Nicola. Anybody remember those Ricola commercials? Yeah. Okay. 10 days. And we've got the meteoric rise. We've got the big giant red dong of doom. We've got it go back up and then a decline ever since. Now, it is up to around 67 pre-market, so we're around here right now. If it's a green day, do we retest this or does it come down? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a big deal for sure. Is Rad really up to 13? Holy cow. Okay, well, I'll get to that after HOV. What is this, Fries? HOV. Bullish, negative. 6 rating. Analysts 1. $27 price target. There's some insider buy up today. Directors are buying stock. There's some insider buying happening today. This is interesting that you have the senior vice president and the directors buying stock today. There's a single fund holding it. I think with construction plays, guys, this is the one that I like better. Is CNR. I think this has a lot more room to run than these analysts are giving it credit for. Oh, you thought it said selling? Let me see. Oh, sell. You're right. They're selling positions. Chairman of the board and CEO sold 500,000. They are selling. So that would go the other way. I'm. Yeah. No. No. 9. Not liking. Rad. Negative sentiment on it. It's currently at 13. I think these analysts are wrong. I would say 15 on a 12-month. I would say 15 on a 12-month. Not a ton of upside to it, but I think that there is upside here. Um, this is the psychology that my new strategy is being built on. Betting or investing, retail traders take the wheel. The retail traders have turned the stock market into DraftKings, and $0 commissions is the impetus for that. Robinhood is the cause. And nobody can tell me that Robinhood investors are all sound retail traders. Retail traders are us. It's the regular guys that just show up and trade. Um, so over the last day, changes to the increase side. So here's what they bought yesterday. Should we check and see how these perform? Should we see how these guys did yesterday? XSPA, Genus, and Hexo were their biggest buys. Let's see how Robinhood performed yesterday. So let's start with XSPA. Big winner yesterday. So here's how this works, guys. The retail traders show up. They buy in volume at 9 to 9:30. There's large swaths of them. They come in and they buy. Out the open, you see this massive candle, right? And then everybody else who's a part of Robinhood tries to get in behind this thing, and then they slowly die over the day. And believe me, the people that buy in first are also the ones that get out first. And then it slowly dies throughout the day. Now Hexo got positive news yesterday. Pot stock, right? So again, let's go 2 days. Again, yesterday, up, down. What was the other one? Genus. Up, down, up, down. What do you want to bet Genus today? We see an up, down. Now, here are some of the other ones. Up, down. Up, down. Now, this is one that went up into the close yesterday. I expect to see it go up and down today. Duo, yeah, Duo was from a couple days back. Duo was actually one of the first stock. Yeah, look, see, yesterday, not yesterday, 2 days ago. Well, not later. Um, Up, down. Yep. You guys seeing this pattern? You see it? This is Robinhood. 5 days. Up, down. All right, guys. This is easy to see. Head to StockTwits. Everybody hates StockTwits, right? Oh yeah. Look for the flames. Look for the stocks that are going to go up 500%, 800%, 1,000%. We had a couple that were up 1,000% this week. Okay, IMRN went up 1,000%. Want to see where it is now? IMRN. It went from $2 to $27. Boop. Back down to 6. This was a reasonable spike on their news. The Navy wants to work with them. This is a reasonable level. This is Robinhood. This is Robinhood. Boop. You can't just do Robin Track though, because Robin Track isn't enough. There are a lot of stocks that aren't traded on Robinhood, but you're still getting the retail trader mentality, which is why you have to expand the strategy outside of just Robinhood. IMRN was the one that went up 1,000%, and there was another one. I can't remember what it was. JFIN was another one. Whoop, boop. Look at all of your sources. Check this out. Scanners, percent gainers daily. Burp, burp. I'm regularly checking this throughout the day. Unusual volume. Looking to ban Apple. Apple. Mm. But you'll see, guys, like this is more of a. It's got a slope to it, right? See how that has like a nice gradual slope? This is not a gradual slope. This is a rocket launch. I can't make an arc draw to fit this. I have to go boop. It's a pyramid. Band. No, band not so much. Band not so much. What's interesting with Tesla is it seems to operate on. Well, this is where we are for the day, so we're going to go sideways. And then we see up movement. And I mean, this is not a huge difference here, right? Like, oh, that channel is fairly reasonable. And then it goes up. And we stay in a channel. And then it goes down. And we stay in a channel. Like, this is the. Once Tesla makes its move for the day, it either moves up or down, but not outrageously. Like, this isn't outrageous. Now, nickel by comparison is supposed to be the same thing. I mean, I do have to say that this was not indicative. This is a large channel. But now, I would say that's a more reasonable channel. Here, it's a more reasonable channel, but this is still a bigger channel than what we're seeing elsewhere. It's not the same. The stability is not here on this. Good morning, trifecta. I will be using those things that you sent me, trifecta. I will just put them together over the weekend. AGO, that was the call from yesterday. They got positive results, so that should be a good day for them. I don't know, and that's part of my strategy. So fries, I couldn't tell you yet. I don't know. That's part of what I'm developing. Is where's the point of exit? Did we get a pop-up power pump? Is that confirmed? Let's see. There's no news of repo yet. No, there's no repo operations yet. Recent operations? Not yet. Yeah. So for those of you that weren't on Rita's chat yesterday, let me break down why Papa Powell should not be coming to the rescue. Okay. So when we look at the spy on 5 days, we're going, why isn't Powell showing up to save us? We've fallen so far. Why isn't he here to pick us up? We need it, right? Well, do we? When you think short like this, absolutely. Here's a spy over 10 years. Tell me where Powell's supposed to show up and save us? Zoom. We aren't that far off that line, guys. Now, down here, when Papa Powell got serious about pumping, that makes sense. This is offline, right? But anything in this range, Papa Powell don't need to be there. Mm-mm. Not his job to keep us at all-time highs. This is fine. We come down here, and that's a whole different market. So down here, I agree. Absolutely. Papa Powell will turn the printer back on. 300? Nope. He's got to let the market get its own legs. He's got to push that bird out of the nest and let it fly. Powell is there as a lifeline. He is not there as a constant prosthetic. The issue if the Fed becomes a constant prosthetic and the market is dependent on him, we have nothing else to bring in. There is no more to bring. And that's a huge issue because the day that the Fed decides to stop pumping, the market collapses. The market has to start fending for itself. Has to. Healthcare has the most strong buys in it. As a long equity bio trader, there is a lot of opportunity in bio. They have cut back so much in the way of regulation. There's so much opportunity. Damn. $45 price target? Yeah, I mean, there's so many companies that have quality drugs that have just been held up in the line because of the red tape. And I think what we're seeing is a lot. Is there a lot of crap that's getting through? Absolutely. But Wins? It's already down 27% pre-market. This cow's been milked. All right, let's see here. Yahoo Finance. If you guys are interested, I will be speaking. This is more the marketing side, guys. It's less to do with, um, it's less to do with stocks, more to do with my marketing. But I will be on a live stream interview today at noon Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. There's the link on Twitter, but the link for her Facebook group is there. If you guys are interested, that is available for you guys to check out for sure. Okay. TVIX down. Still no massive boom here. Whew. I mean, follow the Fed directly. Federal Reserve. Follow that. Get notifications. They'll drop stuff. Um, Fed New York. This is another one. Fed Atlanta. Yeah. Go figure. You can't just steal names like that. Morgan Stanley says Tesla's overrated. Morgan Stanley wants a better entry. This is scary. This is scary. Yikes. $1 billion in stock going into the market on Hertz today. Better believe this thing goes. What's it looking like pre-market? Hertz, 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 Hertz. It's up pre-market. Oh, thank you. It's up pre-market, guys. It's up. Hertz is up pre-market on news that it's going to be selling $1 billion of shares. I. Oh, what in the world? What is happening? I just come on, guys. I'm not the only one seeing this, right? This company is Chapter 11. It's bankrupt. It's bleeding. It's dying. Its lead investor has exited his position entirely, and the stock is up 80 cents this morning. The stock is up 80 cents this morning. What's up, Unique Nerve? Glad to have you, man. I feel that early morning vibe. I usually start 4:30 Eastern my time, so I imagine you're probably on the West Coast. You probably got me beat because you're coming up to 4 a.m. there, right? Um, and that's it. It is a drop in the ocean. It should be delisted. It should absolutely. They've received their notice of delisting, and they are contesting it on the basis of, but don't delist us. Look at the strength of our stock. It's like the strength of what stock? What strength? This is strength? Maybe that's unfair. That's 10 years. Oh, wait, your 6 month chart looks the same. Like, oh, oh, Robinhood showed up. This looks familiar. Huh? I think I'm going to title this the Illuminati Pyramid. Except it should be the Robin Hood Pyramid. This is the new model, guys. This is what I'm looking for, is that Robin Hood Pyramid. That is a Robin Hood Pyramid if I ever saw one. Yeah, Illuminati confirmed. And this is not an individual pattern, guys. Take your pick of the pump and dumps. Duo. Holy cow. Freaking. Uh, Pyramid confirmed. Oh, that's a pyramid. Only problem with this pyramid is technically it went up to here. It's actually a bigger pyramid. Can I take a look at CERN? Yeah, I can definitely take a look at CERN. Let's do that. So, what are your thoughts on CERN of the pipeline that they've got coming? COVID candidates. Yeah. So this is it. CERN report. It's got a decent price target to the high side. Low loss, really. Uh, Cerner Corporation. I know that feels, man. See, damn it! Okay. CRC. Cerecor. Okay. Equity offering, which is what brought it down on the 9th. Um, this isn't even stage one. Be very, very careful with this. This is not even a stage one study. They've received clearance to proceed with a proof of concept trial. They need 82 patients with enrollment starting in June, and we won't know anything until Q4. So you're playing this through Q4, and this is extremely risky if you're playing. This is kind of scary for me that they never opened high. They were always a nothing. If it goes well, it could go up. It could. Without news though, and with this equity offering, I mean it's up 14% pre-market. I haven't done the data on their pipeline. That would take me probably an hour to get into, and we've only got about 10 minutes left. I would highly recommend you do your due diligence on the pipeline and see who they're talking to. Um, okay, so just so you guys are aware, when you're looking at biostocks, when there is nothing in phase three, this is a 2 year play. What's up, Gomez? Yeah, this is a 2 year play. It will take that long for them to go through. Now, Crohn's is a big name. Multiple myeloma, that's a big name. Um, they don't even really have data coming out until Q4. This is a long hold for sure. This is a long hold. What about Boeing? What about Boeing? Um, that 182 pre-market. Okay, my concern with Boeing is this, guys. Um, Boeing has their first certification flight on the 737 Max at the end of the month. Okay, the FAA has their ruling on 737 on Boeing. There's a private inquiry from NASA on them. They've had their Air Force tanker program delayed by 4 years. Uh, it's hoping late June it gets recertified. SpaceX beat them with NASA. FAA has new guidelines. Really, for Boeing, it's going to come down to this flight. A date for a flight by FAA pilots to certify that Max meets safety regulations has not been finalized. And the company still has items to complete. So Boeing is putting out news reports saying it's doing this, and the FAA is saying you haven't met the criteria to do it. You can't just make these announcements. Like this is where the SEC needs to show up and say, what you doing? Like what are you doing? You cannot tell the market, oh, by the way, guys, we're gonna run our recertification test at the end of June. When the FAA is saying that has to be done by FAA pilots, and you haven't done what's necessary in order to make that happen. This company, this company knowingly and blatantly killed hundreds of people. That they are still up and running is solely on the fact that they are tied to government contracts all over. Um, Price targets are 0 on the one side and 300 on the other. This is a hold on to your hats, boys. Oh man. Mm-mm. Yikes. SoftBank is hurting. I mean, this is kind of sad for me that this is where we have come. So here's Bloomberg, right? Here's Bloomberg.com, one of the most respected publications in the world. Look at the ad articles. Look at the ad articles it has popping up. This is off of Bloomberg. They didn't even try. This article has the same clickbait as this article. There it is. Eddie Murphy, Ron Howard, Pat Sajak, Alec Baldwin, Tom Hanks, Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Jessica Parker, Nicole Kidman. She didn't stay with Tom Cruise though. Gordon Ramsay, Elton John. Come on. Tom Selleck's always the last one, right? We need to know. The people demand. Oh, I want to know about Tom Selleck. Holy cow. And they're just collecting the ads here. I'm helping support this economy by reloading the ads on their pages for them. Um, every time these ads load, ad, they get paid. This is me helping. No, I paid them enough. I'm not going any further. They've had enough of my money. Tom Selleck's spouse, divorced, 1982. Jilly Mack, married, 1987, still married. Look how quick that was. No ads required. Woot woot. All right, guys. Stay safe out there today. Stay safe out there. What we're looking at is markets are looking a little bit green pre-market. Stay safe out there. Know your plan. Know your entries. Know your exits. Don't chase anything up or down. Don't take stupid plays that are outside of your strategy. Okay? Please, 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 please do not do anything crazy. Have an amazing day. If you guys missed the start of the stream when we did a lot of breakdown analysis on the market and why we're taking the plays we are, there will be a rerun that happens here. I hope that's a joke. As always, guys, it's a blast having you here. I will see you tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time. I will do a recap on the week, forecast moving forward, so you guys can catch me noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, and then I'll be back Monday 4:30 a.m. to hang out with you, DGens. Have an amazing day, guys.